Have you ever stopped to wonder what really separates the words we speak? I mean, how a tiny, almost invisible shift in your body can turn one sound into something completely different? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on English pronunciation and reveal the one secret switch that pretty much controls it all. Let's dive in.
Seriously, think about it for a second. Try saying these out loud right now. Pet, bet, fan, van. Your mouth, your lips, your tongue, they're doing the exact same dance for both words in each pair. So what's the deal? What's the one tiny physical thing that creates two totally different words? That's the mystery we're solving today.
You know, speaking isn't some kind of magic. It's just mechanics. Your body has this amazing toolkit, your lips, your tongue, teeth, even your throat, that you use to shape air into words. And trust me, once you understand the tools, the whole system becomes way simpler than you'd ever imagine.
To break down any consonant, you really only need to ask 3 questions. First, there's manner. How is the air being squeezed or stopped? Then there's place. Where in your mouth is all that action happening? And third, and this is the one we're going to focus on, is voicing, which is basically asking, is the little motor in your throat turned on or off? That right there is our secret switch.
Okay, so before we get to that switch, let's just get on the same page. What even is a consonant?
It's really all about getting in the way. A consonant is any sound you make where you stop or at least slow down the airflow coming up from your lungs. Think about a P sound, pa. Your lips stop the air completely. For an S sound, s, your tongue squeezes the air into a tiny narrow channel. It's the total opposite of a vowel where the air just flows right on through. All right, here we go. Let's get to the main event, the voicing switch. This is a tiny physical thing happening in your throat, in your vocal cords, that has a huge impact on the sounds you make. Come on, let's actually try this together. Gently place a couple of fingers on the front of your throat, right on your Adam's apple or voice box. Okay, you ready? First, make a long s sound, like a snake. S. Feel anything? Probably not, just air. Now keep your fingers right there and make a z sound, like a B. Zzz. Whoa. Feel that vibration, that buzz? That is the secret switch in action. So what you just felt is the whole game. When your vocal cords are just sitting there, not vibrating, the sound is called voiceless, like that s sound. But when they're vibrating and making that buzz, the sound is voiced, like the Z sound. It's the same mouth position, same tongue position, but a totally different sound, all because you decided to flip that little switch. Now let's see how this switch works with different kinds of consonants. First up are the sounds that pop. Linguists call them plosives. A plosive is exactly what it sounds like, a tiny explosion of air. You build up pressure by completely stopping the airflow somewhere in your mouth, and then, pop, you release it. Think of the sounds P, B, and T. They all have that little burst. So let's look at our first pair, P and B. To make both of these sounds, you press your lips together to completely stop the air. But for the P in pat, there's no vibration, it's just air. For the B in bat, you flip the voicing switch on. Go ahead, feel your throat when you say them. Pa, ba. That vibration is the only difference. The exact same rule applies to T and D. This time the action moves. Your tongue tip presses against that bumpy ridge right behind your top teeth. For the T and tap, it's just a puff of air, voiceless. But for the D and dog, you engage that same vibration. It's the same mouth shape, just with the motor turned on. And our last plosive pair, K and go, happens way in the back of your mouth. The back of your tongue goes up and touches the soft palate for both sounds. In kite, that ka is voiceless. But in go, the ga is voiced. You turn on the vibration. See the pattern? Same place, same manner. The only thing that changes is the voicing. Okay, so we've seen how the voicing switch works for sounds that pop. Now let's check out the sounds that hiss, which are called fricatives. So unlike plosives that stop the air completely, fricatives are all about making things tight. You create a really narrow channel somewhere in your mouth and force the air through it. That friction is what creates that hissing sound. And we already know this from our little experiment with s and z. Now look at the pair F and V. The mechanics here are identical. For both sounds, you just touch your top teeth to your bottom lip and let the air squeeze through.
But for the f in fan, it's just quiet air, voiceless. For the v in van, you do the exact same thing, but you hum with your vocal cords. It really is that simple.
Okay, so we've got sounds that pop and sounds that hiss. But there's another really cool category, the sounds that hum. Meet the nasals.
This is just fascinating. For sounds like m, nem, and that ing sound you hear in the word ring, your mouth is actually completely blocked off. I mean, for m, your lips are sealed shut. So where does the air go? Well, it gets rerouted up and out through your nose. And what do all these humming nasal sounds have in common? Yep, they are all voiced. You literally can't make them without that vibration.
Okay, this is all really interesting, but so what? Why does knowing these mechanics actually matter for speaking English or learning it? Well, this is where it all comes together.
So many of the common pronunciation mistakes people make are just these tiny mechanical issues. For instance, speakers of languages like German or Russian often turn off the voicing switch at the end of words, making bed sound like bet. That's a voicing problem. Other issues like confusing light and right have to do with the place or manner. When you understand the mechanics, you can consciously fix the physical action and nail the sound. And that's really the big takeaway here. Pronunciation isn't just about trying to copy a sound you hear. It's about knowing the physical steps, the how, to create that sound yourself. Once you know that the only difference between a T and a D is a little buzz in your throat, you're in control. Think about it this way. Your voice is a physical instrument, and learning to pronounce new sounds is like learning to play new notes. Today, you didn't just hear the notes. You learned exactly where to put your fingers, or in this case, how to flip a switch in your throat to produce them perfectly every time. So, speech is a physical performance, plain and simple. Now that you're in on the secret of the voicing switch, what other little mechanical details are you going to start to notice? What will you